Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead Dead City video. So, I wanted to talk about Dead City Season 3 because Dead City Season 2 is approaching, obviously very soon here. We're about a month and a half away until the show premieres, and so I wanted to talk about Dead City Season 3 and talk about some stuff that I kind of saw today, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about, are we even getting a Season 3? I mean, I do think we are, obviously. Like, I think it would be absolutely insane to, like, not get a Season 3, but yeah, I want to get into some stuff that made me a little concerned at first, but yeah, we'll discuss it. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. The show is going to be premiering in, like, again, a month and a half from now. I think we're exactly, like, 47 days away, so, like, is the trailer coming out in 2 days from now? I'm sort of expecting it to be. Like, that's the first day of spring. Like around that point, I feel like the trailer should be out because that's about 40 days before Season 2 premieres, right? Or is it just going to be out next week? Like, it's going to be out at some point here. I don't think they're going to wait 2 more weeks and release it, like, on April 4th or whatever, which would be exactly 1 month before the show premieres because that's just a little bit too late, I think. And I also do want to mention some really amazing news as well, that The Walking Dead Dead City on Netflix is actually doing very well. I believe it's actually in the top 5 on Netflix, and again, it just came out yesterday, right? So like, for it to be like number 1 or number 2 or something like that, like, it might take a couple of days still, right? So I mean, just after the first day, jumping up to number 5 on Netflix is really incredible. I mean, that's sort of why, I do believe for sure there will be a Season 3. I feel like for this show there's going to be at least like 5 seasons because this show is very successful. And so let's actually get into what I wanted to talk about here. So I saw a post on Twitter from at TAKOST_, and it was actually really interesting because I guess the post was referencing something that shows actually that, like, it was a website that shows that The Walking Dead Dead City's showrunner, Eli Jorne, might actually be a showrunner for a different show, I guess, coming out next year at some point. So that would be Severance, which is 2025, 2026. It says that he would be the showrunner and executive producer. And so what's interesting about it is the fact that, obviously for Season 3, I mean, is he not the showrunner for Season 3 anymore? Or is The Walking Dead Dead City not even getting a Season 3? So those are obviously the first questions that come to mind when you first see something like this, right? Is like, what is going on here? So Eli Jorne, it seems like, if this is true at all, could be joining Severance, I guess. And so if he is, I mean, it definitely doesn't mean that he's not going to be a part of Dead City at all. But I mean, that's a lot to sort of do, right? Like, if you're doing both shows and, like, in terms of the writing and being a showrunner and stuff just in general, like, that's a lot to do. So I feel like this could mean that he's not the showrunner for Season 3 of Dead City. And so it is possible that The Walking Dead Dead City Season 3 is getting a new showrunner. And so I actually want to talk about that because I know that there are some concerns as well, because I also had those concerns at first. I was just like, well, what if Dead City Season 3 just doesn't happen? Well, you got to remember, in terms of, Season 3, first of all, it hasn't been renewed yet, but that doesn't really mean anything, right? Because, like, Season 2 didn't get renewed until literally the finale of Dead City Season 1. We watched all of The Walking Dead Dead City Season 1, and then I think, like, right before the finale, I think it was, like, during Comic-Con or something like that, they renewed it for Season 2. So it's possible that with Dead City, we don't get a Season 3 renewal until, like, the end of June or something like that. But it's always different. Like, Dark Winds got renewed for a Season 4, I think, like, 2 weeks before the premiere of Season 3. So, there's that. And also, if you look at The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, that got renewed for a Season 3, I believe, like, early last year. Like, it was months and months before Season 2 actually aired. And so, like, you look at that and I'm just like, okay, so there's definitely a different timeline for a lot of these shows here, right? Like, in terms of the renewal, it really can come at any point. And so, in terms of Dead City Season 3 not being renewed yet or anything like that, I think it makes sense because they're only starting to get into the promotion for Season 2 right now. I think to renew it for a Season 3 right now would be absolutely crazy, right? So I'm expecting it to happen at some point. I mean, obviously later on, I guess in a few weeks from now, maybe before the show premieres, or maybe it's during Season 2 airing, right? Like, when I look back at The Walking Dead would get renewed for another season, usually while the season was airing, right? Like, going back to The Walking Dead Season 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, I just remember halfway through the season, it would just be like, all right, it's getting renewed for another season, or maybe it was at the start of the season kind of thing. So I just think that in terms of the timelines for the shows getting renewed right away, it doesn't always happen like immediately. Sometimes it takes a bit, right? And there could be a bunch of different reasons for that, but it just seems like, yeah, in terms of The Walking Dead Dead City Season 3, it's most likely going to happen, but, we're just gonna have to wait and see, I guess, when the show decides to, I guess, get renewed, or when AMC decides to, I guess, renew the show for a third season. But I guess we should talk about, maybe season 3, like, just not happening at all. Like, what if it actually doesn't happen? And Dead City season 2 is the end of Maggie and Negan's story. See, I think me just saying that just, it really does prove to me that that's kind of insane, because like, you can't really end their story that fast. Like, there's so much more to their story, and like with what they're introducing with all the characters going to New York City, this whole war that is supposed to start in Manhattan and like New Babylon and everything, and Negan getting Lucille again, and just like everything here. There's no way to like end this here, right? And I think that's the one thing too, is that AMC usually with, shows like this, they will say this is the final season. Like Fear the Walking Dead, they said this was the final season. The Walking Dead, they said this was the final season. So the fact that we're already like a month and a half away until, the season 2 premiere of Dead City, I think tells me already, it's like, yeah, obviously this is not the final season. I think that there's so many places that they're able to go with the characters here. There's honestly not a lot to talk about with this here. Like, I don't really want to, I guess, entertain that thought too much, because I just feel like it doesn't really make a lot of sense overall. I think that season 3 is very, very likely, because I think it would just be absolutely shocking for Dead City to just end after a second season with everything that they're introducing here. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. And so, going back to what I was saying before with the showrunner, if the showrunner is leaving Dead City and joining a new show, Severance, I mean, there could be a lot of different reasons. Obviously, we don't know for sure if this is happening, but like, if it is happening, like maybe there's just a disagreement there with AMC, or maybe, the showrunner just wanted to do a different show. There could be a bunch of different reasons. Like The Walking Dead has had so many showrunners, right? There was Frank Darabont, Glenn Mazzara, Scott Gimple, Angela Kang. Angela Kang was actually attached to do The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, but then eventually left, and I think was an executive producer, and they got someone else to go there, obviously David Zabel. So for me, in terms of having a different showrunner, like, again, it's not really the end of the world anyways, because sometimes it just changes things. Like, if there's stuff that we didn't like about a showrunner could make it better, right? Or sometimes it can mean that obviously the story gets worse if there's things that we really liked. And then, things change, and obviously we're just like, oh, like, I want that story to be back to, the way it used to be kind of thing. That's just always going to be a thing with, a show changing showrunners. And so I don't know if that's happening at all here. I mean, the one thing that I think we do have to sort of think about with this is that Dead City Season 1 came out in 2023, right? And the second season is coming out literally 2 years later, which is absolutely insane, right? So what if the third season is just going to take a lot longer to come out? Like, what if AMC just renews it for a Season 3, but it doesn't mean that we're getting a Season 3 in 2026, and that it might come out in 2027? I think that's also very possible, because there's been a lot of rumors of like a new series potentially, filming this summer, or, there's just been rumors out there in general about that. I mean, Scott Gimple's been talking about a lot of that. There's been some rumors on like Rick and Michonne's return, and there's just been rumors on like a bunch of stuff overall. But I do wonder if Dead City Season 3 is going to be pushed off another year until 2027, and if they're going to be filming a new spin-off for The Walking Dead this summer, which will take the place of Dead City and air at some point in the winter or spring of 2026. That could make a lot of sense to me, and that could be why Eli Journe, who is the showrunner here of Dead City, maybe that's why he's working on Severance for 2025, 2026 or whatever, because maybe Dead City is not going to be really worked on until like 2026, 2027, right? So it's possible that there's going to be some time here to actually, work on something else, because they're not going to be getting to work on Dead City Season 3 until like later on this year, because maybe they don't start filming that until early 2026 to have the show out for early 2027 sort of thing, right? Because of a new Walking Dead spinoff airing at some point early next year. I think that does make a lot of sense when you just really look at the fact that Dead City Season 2 took 2 years to come out, and this really could explain all of that, right? So I do think overall we are very likely to get a Season 3. Again, I think it would be very shocking that you know, the show ends after a second season because of all the talk of the characters reuniting, and like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon as well is going to be getting a season 4. They're even talking about like a season 5 and a 6, right? In terms of like, oh, where else are we going to go? And David Zabel mentioning that he's writing these stories as like, you know, sort of 2 season blocks almost, where it was the France storyline for the first 2 seasons. For season 3 and 4, it's going to be very much in Spain. And then we'll see for season 5 and 6 sort of thing. Obviously, it's not confirmed or it's not official or anything like that. It's more just like, oh, that would be so cool kind of thing, right? But like, again, they seem very positive that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon will go on for like that many more seasons. And so I feel like for Dead City, like to only get 2 would just be crazy. Like maybe it doesn't get as many seasons as The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, because maybe that goes on for 8 seasons and it's airing every single year, and then Dead City airs every 2 years kind of thing, right? So that's also very possible. I could totally see that. But personally for me, I think a season 3 renewal will happen at some point in the next like 2 months for sure. Like they literally might wait until the finale of Dead City season 2 because of the story, right? Like that was a big concern, I think, after The Walking Dead final season. I believe at some point during the final season, they confirmed The Walking Dead Dead City. They announced that spinoff with Maggie and Negan. And obviously Jeffrey Dean Morgan wasn't a fan of that because it sort of spoiled that their characters survived, right? Like it was just something that he wasn't a fan of. And so I feel like for Dead City season 1, that's why they never wanted to spoil anything. And they announced the renewal like right before the finale of season 2. And I think the reason why they announced it then was because of Comic-Con, right? So for this show here, we'll have to wait and see. But I think a season 3 renewal, you know, even before the show premieres, just makes a lot of sense because we are going into a second season here. And just based off of where the story is going, it makes some sense that, yeah, like we're expecting a season 3, right? So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. I will be doing my Daredevil review, so stay tuned for that. Episode 4 is airing tonight, so I will do my review later on tonight. And yeah, just post your thoughts down below, I guess, on all of this here in terms of do you think Dead City Season 3 is going to get, I mean, I guess a season 3, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to, but, you know, I saw some of this news here and I was like, I guess I should probably talk about it, right? So anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.